This is Mac OS Ken.
Tracking iPhone sales in India, HTC welcomes Apple into mixed reality, and Joanna Stern says there is nothing fine about FineWoven cases. It is Tuesday, the 27th of February, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. He doesn't say India will be a bigger market for iPhone than China in the next few years, though Morgan Stanley analyst Eric Woodring does draw a line to how it could be. On Monday, Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote. According to that, India accounted for 1% of iPhone sales in 2019, 3% of iPhone sales in 2020, and 4% of iPhone sales last year. Last year's 4% was on the back of 9.2 million units moved, an increase of 39% year-on-year, generating $8.7 billion in revenue, an increase of 42% year-on-year. Against the 20% of iPhones China represented last year, the 4% is not a lot. But the market for iPhone in India is growing, and this is where Woodring gets out his marker. Referring to numbers for the two countries, the analyst says they mean that India as a standalone market is not big enough to offset the declines he and his are seeing in the Chinese market today. But if India continues to grow at the same trajectory, while China iPhone shipments stay flat, India will be a bigger iPhone market than China by 2027. Not saying it will be, but drawing a line to how it could be. Mr. Woodring has a buy rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $220. It looks like Apple's moves to hobble progressive web apps in the European Union is drawing the kind of attention from EU regulators that Apple probably doesn't want. Early in February, Mac Rumors ran a piece saying Apple had seemingly restricted the functionality of progressive web apps, or PWAs, specifically targeting users in the European Union. Several days later, Apple said, "Yeah, that was us." Apple Insider had the Cupertino company explaining the move. Basically, the company pointed out that progressive web apps on iPhone have always run through WebKit, which was bound or guided by all the privacy and security features built into mobile Safari and iOS by Apple. But the Digital Markets Act, which goes into effect next week, will require iPhone to support browser engines besides Apple's own. Those do not have the same protections built in, so Apple has hobbled them. Cue the regulators. Another piece from Apple Insider, this one highlighting a Financial Times report, says the European Commission is concerned that Apple is nerfing PWAs to keep developers from making an end run around the 30% commission Apple gets for App Store transactions. And the EC would like answers. The piece quotes a statement from the European Commission, the EU's executive arm, saying, "We are indeed looking at the compliance packages of all gatekeepers, including Apple. In that context, we are in particular looking at the issue of progressive web apps and can confirm sending the request for information to Apple and to developers who can provide useful information for our assessment." Remember the talk yesterday about Apple and foldable phones and whether Apple getting into the space would totally juice that market? See also virtual reality, augmented reality, and whatever space among those is filled by Apple Vision Pro. Agence France Presse has HTC CEO and co-founder Cher Wang saying, "Apple coming into the mixed-up space of mixed realities is a good thing, even though she is now competing against it." Or maybe because she is. Wang told AFP, "I think it's good that Apple joined the competition. I mean, Apple is a big brand, so it's good." Talking with the press at this week's Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, the CEO said the price for Apple Vision Pro is very high, though the attention it's garnered has opened people's eyes to what such tech can do. As for when the 30-plus-year-old next big thing that is mixed reality will be a now thing and a mainstream thing, Wong said, "It's not going to be too long. Definitely this is an area we believe will be the next internet. I think when the price point gets lower and the technology, what we provide, improves further, things will get more ubiquitous." If you're still on the fence about whether a FineWoven case for your iPhone is right for you, the Wall Street Journal's Joanna Stern thinks you should get off that fence. Just make sure you land on the side without a FineWoven case. In last week's edition of her Tech Things newsletter, Stern gave an update on Apple's leather case replacement after using the thing for 5 months. Basically, she hates it. Replacing the company's leather cases, Stern says, Apple said this FineWoven material was an elegant and durable new textile and that it was made from 68% post-consumer recycled content. Admirable, except nothing has been fine about the FineWoven case. Press around it was negative almost immediately after its release, so props to Stern for giving the thing time. Sadly, time has not been kind to her $59 case. Stern says the case's edges are peeling, the fabric is scratched up like an old CD, and it's browning like a rotten banana. An Apple spokesperson apparently told her that the company's cases are engineered at the highest standard to protect iPhones, and that the FineWoven case's durable micro-twill will protect an iPhone for years. Doesn't seem to address the ugly part, though, except for advice Apple provides for cleaning the thing with laundry detergent and water. Stern is so soured by her FineWoven fiasco that she's got a new rule. If all you're looking to do is protect your phone, no case over $40. If you're still paying for Netflix through Apple, you'll apparently not be doing that for much longer. While Netflix stopped allowing the App Store as a payment option back in 2018 for new or returning subscribers, customers in good standing have been able to keep paying the old way right along. Now a piece from 9to5Mac says, no more. Citing a report from the site The Streamable, 9to5Mac says Netflix has started notifying people who currently pay for a subscription through Apple that they need to update their payment method to continue accessing the service. According to the Netflix support website, some Apple-billed members in select countries may be prompted to add a new payment method to continue their subscription. There's no telling at this point how many people that is likely to affect. It has been a little over 5 years, though, making 9to5Mac think the number is relatively small. And finally today, whether letting the cat out of the bag or simply jumping the gun, Cush Jumbo says a second season of Criminal Record is happening on Apple TV+. If this one slipped your mind, Deadline says the series centers around 2 detectives, one a young woman, played by Jumbo in the early stages of her career, the other a well-connected man, played by Peter Capaldi, determined to protect his legacy, clashing over an old murder case. Not only does Jumbo star in the show, she is also an executive producer on it. So it meant something when she said Sunday night on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live that there will be a second season of the show. It's unclear, though, exactly what it meant. Does it mean she wanted to happen, or that it's actually going to? While the actress and executive producer seems all in, Deadline points out that Apple has yet to officially renew the series. All 8 episodes of the first and only season so far of Criminal Record are available to stream now on Apple TV+. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.